The Democratic Alliance in Gauteng is holding its all-important provincial congress today. It's set to elect new provincial leaders. The gathering is being held virtually. Newzroom Africa's Malungelo Booi is keeping an eye on that for us. Malungelo, very good morning to you. Exactly 2 weeks ago, we saw the Democratic Alliance electing new leadership. John Steenhuisen put in charge of that party. Today is another significant day for the DA.
That's right. In fact, about over 1,000 members really will be participating in this Congress. It's held virtually, as you rightfully said. So everybody that will be taking part in this DA Congress here in Gauteng will be participating through, the internet or virtually using the computers and all of that. But this, as you rightfully said, Mpo, this is critical, especially going into the local government elections next year. Let me tell you who is in the running for this. For the provincial leader, we've got at least 2 candidates there. One of the names you might be familiar with them, Solim Simanga. He's the man who at some point was in charge of the city of Tshwane. He's now the DA leader in the Gauteng legislature. And also we've got James Lorimer. He's a member of parliament for the DA. He also speaks for the DA on mineral resources as well as energy. Well, he is outgoing chairperson of the DA here in Gauteng, joining me now. Mike, thank you so much for your time. How significant is this? Perhaps let me start asking you this question. Why did you not put your hand up to be a provincial leader for the DA here in Gauteng?
Thank you, Malungelo. The fact is that I think that you always need to be able to share responsibilities, time for other people to come in, go through the processes of learning how to do the job and to work and get experience. And I think it's time for somebody else. So that's what I'm doing. But I'll be there. I'll be around. If anybody needs my advice, I'll be there to give it. I'll be active in the Gauteng provincial legislature, where I'm a public representative, and also in my allocated constituency, where you'll find me with the branches getting DA votes, specifically in the run-up to next year's elections.
How important is this Congress for the DA?
It's exceedingly important. Outside of the Western Cape, Gauteng is arguably a heartland for the DA. We need to be strong here. We have been very strong in the past, and I would expect us to be strong again in next year's election. And I'll tell you why, Malungelo. Yeah. We do have capacity. We've got enormous capacity in the membership that we have, in terms of the public representatives that we have, and all of the resources that we have at our availability. What we've got to do is to do the kind of things that we used to do well in the past to regain trust. And I'm pretty certain that with the leadership that we are electing today, that we will mobilize, we will be with the communities around our province, and we will regain the trust. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take an enormous commitment to the cause. And if I have any advice to give to my successors, it's concentrate on those things. Work with our resources, work with our public representatives, work with our members and activists to get a greater level of commitment to the cause. Once we've done that, I promise you we're going to be extraordinarily effective, because you've got to ask, what is the alternative for South Africans? Sure. What is the alternative in a place like Gauteng, where unemployment is rising, there's unbridled corruption, which we talk about so much, but we don't see people going to jail. If there was a situation crying out for an alternative to come into government, it's in our country and it's in our province, and it looks like the DA is the one party that can. We need to fix ourselves and be there for the people so that they do have that alternative that they're looking for.
Mike, there's no doubt, though, that you guys are facing a mammoth task when we look into the local government by-elections that were held on Wednesday. I looked at the numbers. You performed dismally. That's the DA nationwide, losing about 9 wards. You've also lost a ward here in Gauteng. That says a lot about the voter that you are targeting.
Well, I resent the word dismally, but you and I can possibly argue that over a cup of tea somewhere else. But here's the thing. Yes, we learn our lessons. So there are introspections that have started already, and, I can recognize a few things. And that's where you start. You recognize that you have a problem, what your problem is, you fix it, and then you go forward. I'm absolutely convinced that we know it, and that we've got the people that we're going to elect today that will address it. And I think that the people will be excited by the program that unfolds, possibly not next month, but certainly early in the new year, and then they'll see more and more momentum carrying forward. I'm optimistic, Malungelo.
Are you banking, though, on the fact that Midvaal is one of the municipalities that you guys have governed that is doing very well? Are you hoping to use that as an example when you go to the electorate, for example, next year?
Undoubtedly we will. I think that what Midvaal does...
performed very poorly in Tshwane, for example.
Well, I think that what you do is then you unpack what the reasons were there. The difference between Midvaal, of course, and Tshwane and Johannesburg, and by the way, we turned things around in those two metros. We could talk about the record, but it was under difficult circumstances, and often the things that don't go right stick out larger and starker, but you then ignore the good things that we've done. But here's the thing. What the DA was able to do in Midvaal, we did because we had a majority. What we need voters to do in Tshwane and Johannesburg, Mogale, and even in Ekurhuleni is to give us majorities. You can then much more effectively work. But yes, obviously, we're probably going to end up in a few coalitions. Sure. We've also learnt lessons on what to do and what not to do in coalitions, and I'm convinced that we're going to do it. But here's the thing. What you see in DA governments, whether it's Midvaal and any other government you can pick, is that we're not perfect, but we are better. And when you look at the 260 or so municipalities, I promise you, it's on record. It's in independent surveys. It's not us that can tell you this.
President Khalicha, for example, would disagree with you.
You've got to take the entire lot. Running a municipality, obviously there are challenges in various areas where you turn them around, but you've got to take the entire lot. And you've got to ask, maybe you can say, well, certain parts of Cape Town. But please come with me to Emfuleni. Nowhere in Emfuleni is working. Not one place. And you go to Makana in the Eastern Cape. There are many such places. Yes, we are better because the stats say to. Out of the 260 municipalities, out of the top 20 out of 260, 15 are led by the DA. You can't argue with those statistics.
All right. Mike Moriarty is the outgoing chairperson of the Democratic Alliance. Well, they are facing a mammoth task, as you've heard him. Also saying that they are hoping to regain a whole lot of municipalities here in Gauteng, especially when we go to those important local government elections next year. For now, though, it's back to you.
Very well, Malungelo. Let's leave it there for now. We will continue, of course, to monitor the developments coming out of the DA virtually electing new provincial leaders. That is being held virtually and will be happening today.